My name is Jen Cushman. I am an empathic intuitive. I am an energy practitioner. I am certified and trained in mental emotional release and neurolinguistic programming and hypnotherapy. All of that means is that I am here to be of service to you, to people who are out there that are looking for ways to heal, ways to increase their energy, ways to have physical healing, mental healing, emotional healing. And that is my specialty. What I love to do is I love to help women, feel better about themselves and their lives and the things that they are doing, and to be able to get rid of the gunk in their lives so you can move forward in a way that is clean and clear so you can take action and get the results that you're looking for in your life. So you can live calm, happy, healthy, joyful, and free every single day. That's what that means. Okay. Today's topic is hurt. Hurt is one of the major negative emotions that is cleared during a mental emotional release breakthrough session. And when we do the work, which helps you feel like these things that you've been carrying your entire life is lifted off your shoulders, the weight of the world and the weight of these old negative emotions and limiting beliefs that you have are lifted off of you so you get to have a whole new clear way of being. We release in order anger, sadness, fear, hurt, right? And then if we need to, we can release shame and guilt, we can release humiliation, we can release anxiety, we can release the other smaller emotions when we get to the top four. And hurt is one of the top four. Now, I wanted to talk about this in particular today because what I'm seeing is there are many people in the world who are hurting right now. And what transpired in the last month, with the elections and the other stuff, again, as I've said, 50% of the population is very happy, 50% of the population is very sad. That's the way it is. So whenever there is anything in a competition where there are winners and losers, some people are going to feel victorious and some people are going to feel very sad or angry or hurt or all of those things. And so one of the things I really want to do is to talk about hurt. Now, I'm not going to take it from a practitioner level today, even though that's what I've been speaking about. What I want to do is I want to take this from a very personal way and a very personal level, how you as a human being, how you as a light worker, how you as a healer or a feeler, a creative, somebody who really wants to be love and light and put your unique love and light into the world so you can put your unique medicine out in the world. Not medicine like a pill, medicine like a balm, a salve, what you do that is uniquely you, that shines your light and helps others in this world. And one of the things I know is that supporting people who are going through emotional difficulties, right? Mental and emotional difficulties takes strength. It takes a lot of personal strength and a lot of bravery. It means for me to be able to do this as a practitioner, I have to be very clear in my energy. I have to be clear in my purpose. I am very clear in my purpose. I am very clear in my energy. And I just this weekend, you guys, I just had another breakthrough session. So I'm doing breakthrough session and coaching for the next 3 months because when you do this work, it is like peeling the layers of the onion. And in the first breakthrough session that I ever did, I had a lot of crap that needed to be coming off. I needed to peel a big giant outer skin of the onion. And then I did a different one in a different area of life. So my first one was in July of 2022. My second one was in November of 2022. And my third one, which was in personal growth and development, was just this weekend. I don't know if you can see me, but I feel happier. I feel lighter. I feel like I got my radiance back. I feel like I'm glowing again. The rosacea that I usually deal with, it's just, I woke up today and it's like the rosacea is less. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm back to my old self again. Excuse me, let me take a quick drink. And these breakthrough sessions that I'm going through right now is because I've done so much of the work and I do maintenance and I do clearing and I'm very strong in my energy and my boundaries. As somebody who never used to have boundaries, I have boundaries. So now that I'm super clear about these things, it's like going in with a breakthrough session and it's almost like a surgeon that's going in with a scalpel and just getting those, what's left of those potentially cancerous cells, right? So it's like going in and getting rid of the cancerous cells. So that's what I've done. Okay. Now, I released a lot of hurt, which is why I wanted to talk about it today. So, back to you, away from me, and back to you. Back to you. Here is some things that I think could be really helpful for you when you are supporting people you care about as they are going through hurt. Okay, specifically hurt, not anger, not sadness, not fear, but hurt. Okay. Okay. So one of the things I really wanted to bring up is that I'll get into how to help, but what I want to do right now is I want to give examples of how not to help. Okay. I always think that if we know what not to do, then we know what to do. It's kind of like when you're dating, all the single ladies on here, you can raise your hand if this is true. It's that whole thing where, you know what, you might potentially have to kiss a lot of frogs for you to get very, very, very clear on what your particular prince looks like. Okay. So there are things that we do where unknowingly, unconsciously, there are words and things that are out there in the collective that we have just adopted that are really unhelpful. And not only they're unhelpful, they are very painful, they're dismissive, they're not comforting, they sound comforting. It sounds like you're trying to do the best you can, but they're actually doing the opposite. They are breaking rapport, they are breaking trust, they are breaking empathy. So I just want to make sure that you guys have awareness and knowledge, okay? So here's 10 things not to say to somebody when they're hurting. And I've got them written down because you guys know that I always do my pre-work now and I'm writing down to make sure that I don't squirrel and I stay on topic with you so you get the most out of these talks that I can give you. So 10 things not to say when somebody is hurting, okay? At least it's not worse, right? At least it's not worse. Now, how is that helpful? It sounds like you're being helpful, but it's actually dismissive. Sure, anything could be worse. You know what I mean? It's like if you're dealing with anything that's not a death, it could pretty much be worse. You know, the death of a loved one is pretty much the worst thing that can happen. And if somebody says it could be worse, at that point, you're like, you're just an idiot. Like, sorry. You know, I just lost somebody. There is no worse than this right now. That's grief. That's lost. Okay. Anything up to that, of course it could be worse. Duh, right? Anything can always be worse. That is not helpful. Strike that from your vocabulary. Just strike it. Okay. The next thing, which is that that I will get a lot, and you will hear this a lot in the higher consciousness community, and it actually is spiritual bypassing, is what it's called. There's a book on spiritual bypassing that's amazing. I don't have the author name I off ahead, but it's been an incredible book, and it really, really helped me to understand how, in my effort to not feel the feels, I would try to reframe myself and get to the positive too quickly. Like I didn't want to focus on it because it was like, if I focused on it, you know, attention goes where energy flows, right? Or energy flows where attention goes. I was so scared that if I focused on it, then I would create it. Well, the reality is my fear was already creating it in the first place, and I was already focusing on it. So in my attempt to not focus on it, move through it, reframe it, make it positive, I really was not doing anything. It was like putting a Band-Aid on a hemorrhaging arm being cut off. It just doesn't work. So this saying, this word that we think is this, where just be positive, or oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Think about it could be worse. Think about the positive, you know, just be positive. What's the positive outcome of this? What is that kind of thing? And not that that's a bad question, and it's a question that needs to be answered after the person has gotten through the pain and hurt. Okay. So, you know, you can help them reframe it. You can help them find the learning. You can help them find what is the positive thing that came out from this challenging situation. But when the person is in their stuff, saying just be positive invalidates their feelings. It's not helpful. Okay. So here's another one, right? Here's one that I hear a lot, and it like is a trigger for me. It irritates me, really, really irritates me. And if this irritates you guys too, let me know because I would love to hear if it's irritating you, right? Which is everything happens for a reason, right? How many times have you been in it? You've been in your stuff, right? I was going to use a 4-letter word instead of a 5-letter word, but when you are in your stuff and some helpful friend or parent or somebody will come back and say, well, you know what? Everything happens for a reason. So, duh, right? Maybe. And I used to think that way. I used to actually believe that everything happened for a reason. And I don't believe that right now. I believe that there are things that can just happen. I do believe that tragedies can happen. I do believe that we get tires and flats or car accidents or somebody runs into the back of it. It's like, did it happen for a reason? Maybe, maybe not. And what really is more helpful rather than everything happens for a reason is that what did you get out of it? What was the learning that you got out of this thing, you know? And again, doesn't help somebody when they're in their stuff, right? When they're in their stuff, if you say to somebody, everything happens for a reason, that's like, right? Everybody, you guys are saying it triggers you, it hurts you. It's like, you know, later when the energy's moved and they're feeling better, then you can say, you know what? That thing happened. You now have perspective on it. What was the perspective you gained? What was something that came out of it that gave you a different shift, a different way of looking at it, that gave you a new perspective? Now, that question is helpful. Okay. So there we go. So, third one to strike from your vocabulary. Here's another one that is major irritating for me. Big trigger for sure. This one gets me when people say this to me. Okay. I know exactly how you feel. Oh, Jen, I know exactly how you feel. Mm-mm. No, nobody knows exactly how I feel. Now, you can have similar feelings than me. I can have similar feelings than you, particularly in a family. We may have the same coping mechanisms, right? We may have the same patterns. We may have the same limiting beliefs. We may have the same negative emotions. There may be similarities among siblings or among families, and there is not one person who knows exactly how another person feels. You know, I have been with Greg for 40 years. And, you know, I have been married to him for 32 years. We know each other incredibly well. I still don't know exactly how he feels, and he doesn't know exactly how I feel. So scratch that one. Okay. So the other one is at least it's not worse. And the flip side of that is it could be worse. So at least it's not worse. It could be worse. Of course. How is that helpful? Okay. Here's another one that is really irritating and something that I hear a lot. It sounds very profound and very spiritual, and it's very stupid in my opinion. Actually, it's not stupid because it's truth, and it's not truth that you need to hear in the moment when you're hurting. Here's the statement, right? Time heals all wounds, right? We know time heals all wounds, right? And a wound is a wound is a wound. Sometimes the wound remain open and gooey and yucky, and sometimes they become a scar. The purpose of doing breakthrough sessions, mental emotional release, spiritual release, ho'oku'u, these things that I'm doing, any other form of modality, plant medicine, you know, journeys, meditation, any of those things, the purpose is to heal our sore nervous system, right? To heal that, to heal us from the inside out. And time does heal wounds. Time does allow scars to form. And then when we can help other people from our scar and not our wound, then we are helping people with true empowerment. Okay. Let me say that again because it's so important. When we can use the trauma and the wounds and the stories and the hurt and the things that happen to us, and we heal from them, and we share our stories with other as part of our medicine, the way for it to become medicine is to have it be a scar and not a gaping wound. Okay. When you can help others from the scar, not the wound, right? Then you're doing better. Okay. So that's it. So Susan says she heard that a lot when her son passed. It did not help one bit. Time heals all wounds. That is not a good thing to say, you guys. Okay. Let that one go. Another one that really irritates me that I have heard my whole freaking life, and it actually came out in the breakthrough session, and I healed it. Woo-hoo-hoo, I healed it. Like you are healed, right? So this one is you're too sensitive, right? So I've heard that one on my whole entire life. Stop crying, you're too sensitive. Stop taking it so personally. I didn't mean that. How are you reading into that? Why are you doing that? Now, some of that's true, right? Some of that's wound. I had wounds. I had big gaping open wounds. I had limiting beliefs around me being too sensitive, too empathetic, too whatever, you know what I mean? And it's not helpful. You don't tell a sensitive person they're too sensitive. Guess what? They're sensitive, and sensitivity is a superpower. So screw that. Done. Okay. Here's another one that I think is really not so good. Particularly when somebody, if you have a friend of yours who has a challenge and they keep coming up to you and they keep saying the same thing over and over and over again, and you're sick of hearing it. Now that happens, right? So there are times where people are like, they are just not getting a cause for their behavior. They are staying in victimhood way too long. They are not taking responsibility for their actions, right? They're not doing those things and they're projecting onto you. I get that. All of that stuff, no bueno, no good. That's when we have to set boundaries, right? Loving boundaries, but boundaries. And if there is somebody who you're really having that issue with and they're just not getting over their stuff, one of the things that we want to say, because it's triggering us, because it's like, oh my God, I've heard that for the 12th time, which is, why aren't you over that already? You know, why aren't you over that already? Like, we've been talking about this for 10 years now. Why aren't you done with it? Right? So it may be true. It may be true. And don't say it. It's just not a helpful thing to say. It creates more hurt. Okay. So it invalidates feelings. It creates more hurt. It stops rapport. It stops them feeling like they can trust you. There's better ways to say, why aren't you over that already? Okay. Here's another one that comes up a lot, particularly in the wellness community, in the higher consciousness community and the spiritual community, which is you should be grateful. You know, yes, I know that happened to you, but you should be grateful. Look, you have a car, you have a house, you have food on your plate, you have people that love you. You should be grateful. Guess what that's doing? That's shooting on somebody. You don't want to shoot on yourself. You don't want to shoot on somebody else. Shooting on anybody does not feel good. So, you know, let them decide if they should be grateful. You know, let them decide if they are grateful. Let them get to gratitude. Gratitude is a higher vibration. It is a better feeling and a way to get through the hurt and the negative emotions. And it's something that comes after the energy wave. It's where the healing comes when you can do a gratitude practice. Telling somebody to be gratitude, not so great. Okay. And then here's the last one that I really kind of identified of something that just is not helpful and it really bothers me. And I used to do this. I'm telling you guys this one. This was me. When I did spiritual bypassing, which I did, when I did spiritual bypassing, I used this one on myself and I used it on other people all the time. And I just really don't. It irritates me now and I won't do it. Okay. And it is things will get better. Things will get better. We think we are being helpful when we say that. That sounds so comforting to put your arms around somebody and just be like, oh, things are going to get better. You know, guess what? They are going to get better because energy is always moving. And emotions and feelings are simply energy, right? Just like waves in a river, that's what feelings are. Feelings are waves in a river. You know, they'll crash, they'll ebb, they'll flow, they'll swirl. That's what their purpose is. That's what their job is to do. That's part of being human, is to have the feelings and the emotions. And it is going to get better. I believe that. Like my guides and my angels will tell people that during the reading. And, but, and here's the difference in a reading. I am getting insight from my team to tell people it's going to get better, to give them comforting words, because it is going to get better, right? We've already had the discussion. When you're in a conversation with somebody and you just say, it's going to get better, it can be dismissive. So that's the last one I want to talk about. So these words, scratch them from your vocabulary. They are not that helpful. Well intended, but not meaningful. Okay. So now what I want to do is I just want to go on to words and actions that can really help. That's where we really want to get to. We want to get to how can we be better communicators? How can we be better friends? How can we hold our energy and hold space for somebody else? Okay. And that's really what we're talking about. When a friend or a loved one or a spouse or a partner or a child or somebody comes to you and they're hurting, what they're really, really wanting from you, and they don't know it themselves, is they want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be held in a space of empathy and safety and trust. And they're coming to you because they feel that you can help them in those things. And it is an incredible honor and an incredible gift to be a feeler and to be able to stand in your own light, stand in your own energy, and be able to hold space for somebody you love who is hurting. It is, again, sensitivity is a superpower, and it's what we do well when we can maintain our boundaries and we can maintain our energy. And that takes a lot of work. So that's not this topic. But so true listening, you guys, true listening and holding space for somebody is non-judgmental listening. It means that, anybody can come to it. Like Jennifer, you're on here. Hi, Jennifer. So happy to see you. I've been thinking about you so much, my friend. So Jennifer feels okay to call me on the phone and be like, Jen, I have this going on. She doesn't have enough wherewithal in her pain to say, Jen, can you hold space for me? Because she doesn't know it. She calls me on the phone. I say, hi, Jen. Hi, Jennifer. How you doing? And Jennifer's like, ah, and it just comes out because that's what she needs. She needs me to be a friend for it to just come out, right? Again, maybe anger, sadness, fear, hurt, whatever it is, but it's just going to come out. And so I'm like, ooh, okay. That's a lot of energy coming at me right now. I know how to handle this. I can do this. I just go and I become like a pillar, and I become a pillar of light. And then I hold that space for Jennifer. I hold that space for anybody else. I hold a non-judgmental space. Pretty much people can say anything to me at this moment when I am in my non-judgmental space, and I will not be triggered by it. That's how much the work that I've done. That's what these breakthrough sessions, this coaching, this work has done, right? It has allowed me to be able to be a pillar, hold space for people, and not get triggered and not put my projections back on them when I'm in that great space. Okay. So the other thing about what they're coming to is they're looking for empathy. People talk about empathy being a soft skill, and corporate speak and corporate environment, empathy is a soft skill, and soft skills are so necessary. Creativity is a soft skill. Communication is a soft skill. That is such bullshit, right? They're not soft skills. They are hard skills. Empathy is the thing that is going to help change the world, right? The more we come out and are seen and allow ourselves to be known, and we do the work and we bring empathy into this world, the more light we're able to shine. And then the more the people have no empathy, the narcissists, the evildoers, all that kind of stuff, guess what? They can't do their work anymore because of empathy. So it isn't a soft skill. Empathy is the heart of connection and trust. You guys, empathy is the heart of connection and trust. So here's some things to say, okay? Active listening, non-judgmental listening, true empathy, understanding what this person is really needing, and seeing if you are in a space where you can give them what they need in a very loving and strong way, okay? So here's some words that you can use. And here's one. Somebody just comes out, Jennifer goes, beep, and it all comes out on me, and I take a big deep breath and I come back and I'm like, oh, Jennifer, it sounds like you're dealing with a lot right now. Okay. I'm not saying anything to her other than, oh my gosh, girlfriend, I see you. Jennifer, I know you're laughing. So I know I have permission to keep using your name and keep using you in this. And so I appreciate that. So thank you for that. And know that it's not about you and you're standing in for me. So I love that. So, so it's one of those things. So I can just say, man, it sounds like you're dealing with a lot right now. And then that allows her to feel seen, understood, and then it allows her to trust me. Okay. Another thing that you can say once they blurt it all out and they're crying and they empty it all out, or they're mad or whatever, and they're stop raging, right? We call it raging, right? Storming. So when they're storming is the technical term for it. In our training, right? In my training. So when they're storming, when they empty out and they're not storming anymore, you can say to them, you can put a hand on them, shoulder, whatever, knee, whatever, and you can look them in the eye and you can say, I'm glad you're sharing this with me. It makes me happy to know that you trust me. And it's important to me that you trust me because you're important to me, right? You're important to me. That again makes them feel seen and loved and held and understand. The other thing to do is really to ask open-ended questions. One of the things that we do, a lot of us, is we try to solve the problem. We go to our friends, our spouse, particularly our children, right? Me, right? Mama, for sure. Go to the children, we want to solve it. And it's like, empowerment is asking the questions that they need to give them a perspective so they can solve it themselves. They're empowered when they solve their own problems. We're empowered when we guide them and help them to solve the problems. If we're a fixer, if we're a solver, if we're somebody comes in who's a know-it-all, right? All that kind of stuff, that's really not helpful to our friends. So one of the ways to do that is to ask open-ended questions, like that helps the person pause, reflect, rethink, like, how can I help you? How can I assist you? In a perfect world, what would you need to feel better? Again, like that stops them in their track. It might be things like simple, like $1 million, to have my mortgage paid, to not have to work, for my mother-in-law to stop yelling at me, for my kids to pick up their floor and do their room. Like that may be the simple answer of, in a perfect world, what do you need? And it does loosen up the baggage. It does make them laugh. It does help them realize that they might be being a little dramatic, a little extra, a little over the top. It can inject some humor into it, and it also shows that you're caring and you're listening. The other great question to ask when people are hurting, or when they're telling you something, like they're giving you a limiting belief, or they're giving you a pain point, or they're giving you something, is to just say, hey, can you tell me more about that? There are people that will say something. My husband in particular shuts down. He doesn't like to talk about things. A lot of men in general will get defensive or they'll shut down. Other people who protect their heart because they've been hurt, they'll shut down. So they'll say something to you, but then they put that wall up because they're afraid of being hurt. But they're coming to you in the first place because they want to see seen, felt, heard, and loved. So with that, you can just pry it open a little bit, give them the space to say, can you tell me a little bit more about that? Okay. So that's a really good thing to do. Let me see, what else do I have? Yeah. On those friends, I just want to tell you again, those friends who like to dump, the dumping friends, the ones who have said the same thing over and over again, they're still being victims, they're not a cause, they just want sympathy, they're in a bad negative pattern, right? If you do want to help them and it's the 10th or the 12th time that you're doing it, but you want to be supportive, this is for my healers, this is my healers, feelers, my creative, this is really important for you to hear, okay? If you want to be there for your friend and it's the 10th or the 12th time, what you can say to them is like, oh, okay, I would really like to, I've got some things going on today. So you set a boundary, right? I've got some things going on today. I really want to listen to you. I can see that you're having challenges right now. So can you tell me more about that? I have about 15 minutes. Can you tell me more about that? I have, and put a time limit on it. And hold your boundary. Okay. A lot of things that happens with us, which are nurturers, women, healers, those kind of things. We just let people talk for hours. And then at the end of it, they're like, oh my God, I always feel so much better when I talk to you. And then you're just like, oh, I got to go take a nap. My battery's drained. Like, you've exhausted me. Say that in your head. You don't say that out loud to them. Well, let's just hold a firm boundary so we can help our friend, but we don't allow them to be in victimhood for more than about 15 minutes, okay? And we set a boundary on that. So that's really important. That's huge today. I want you to know. I have had to do that, and I have learned to get really good at that, okay? And then just last thing is to use your body language. It's called mirroring and matching. And you'll learn this if you guys take a prac. your 4-day INLP, you will learn something called marrying and matching. You guys, if you're still interested, December 12th through 15th in Phoenix, they're going to be in town for PrAC. I have a 50% off coupon if you're interested, okay? If not, doesn't matter. What you want to do is mirroring and matching. So when you're getting ready to have a conversation with somebody, line up, you know what I mean? Line your body up so it's facing theirs. Have your body language be open, have it be soft, have it show that you are wanting to listen to them, right? You can mirror and match. Like if they close up in the thing, well, then you know what? And they're closed up and they're doing this and you don't know, and they're unconditionally in their stuff and they're like a little kid and they're doing it. You can start to kind of close up a little bit. You don't go like this, but you can start to close up a little bit, and that matches them. And then what happens is their unconscious mind will see you matching them. And then what will happen is you can lead it. And then what you can do, and it really helps, it really, really helps on a physiological level, is once you close up a little bit, you can just gently start opening back up. It's interesting. If you are in rapport with a person and in a rapport bubble, they will unconsciously unclench and they will unconsciously open up. It is so cool. Mirroring and matching. Okay. And then, of course, the last thing, and I just want to be done, is, put your phone down. Don't have any distractions. Turn it on Do Not Disturb, or at least on the stuff, and just give them your full attention. So, okay. I hope you enjoyed this subject. I hope it was helpful. It's good. Oh, one last thing I want to tell you, one really, really important thing. When you hold space for the people you love for hurt, when you hold space for difficult conversations, when you finish that day, check up on them the next day, later that night or the next day, just put a little reminder in your phone, put up a little reminder in your head, whatever, check up on them the next day, because energy is always moving, right? So these emotions are like a water in a river. So you'll just check up on them, be like, hey, just checking in on you to see how you're feeling. Are you still feeling X? And then repeat something that they said, because then they're touched because you heard what they said and you remembered it. Are you still feeling stuck? Are you still feeling sad over, over this thing that your mother-in-law said to you? Just check up with them and then just make sure that they're doing okay. A lot of times the best way to do this is by text, just so you know, because then you don't have to reopen the wound. You don't have to get back into it. You're not allowing them to get back into their stuff. You're just literally following up to say, I love you. I see you. I'm checking up on you. I know we had a very important conversation yesterday. Okay? Okay. All ways that you can be a better friend. You can help people with hurt, and you can become better at the people that come to you. You are intuitive. You are a healer. You are a feeler. You are a creative. People naturally tell you things. This is just the way you were built. You have a higher vibration of light, which means people are going to feel that vibration and want what you're having. So everything that you do for your personal growth and development, to manage your energy, to set boundaries, to know who you are, all of those things help you help the people you love. Okay? So self-care is not selfish. Personal growth and development is not selfish. Breakthrough sessions are not selfish. Coaching is not selfish. Readings are not selfish. Sound baths are not selfish, organic body products, whatever it is, whatever you need to do to manage your nervous system, your health and well-being, your love and light, and to protect it is worth it, because you are worth it, my friends. That's the message. Okay?